Now we'll be talking about this just a pair of introduction to mathematics actually just an introduction to mathematics. Now on this part now, these are the two main subtopic we'll be looking at. But now under mathematics now, there are some things like I explained and in the online class, like I explained, the mathematics are several branches, and then all these branches need some notations to function. I get now. All need some notations to function. Now all those branches, for example, we have a arithmetic, we have algebra, we have a trigonometry, and so on like that. So all of them need symbols, they need signs for them to what to function. Now notation are just those signs and symbols to express the function of some particular number variables in a question. Now they are sign symbols that express the function. Now based on what you have based on what you might have in your textbook, and then from what my definition is saying, there will be some similarities, but one thing is just that they are signs, or let's say mathematical signs. They are mathematical signs and symbols. I get it now, to express the function of some particular variables. Now this is notation. Any sign, plus, minus, times, divide, they all have function. This is the function of this plus sign is to add two variables together. Take note, the function of this subtraction, of this minus sign, minus is the sign, this function is subtraction. This function of this minus is to subtract two variables from each other. Do you get it now? Note my words. The function of this plus sign is, or the function of this sign is to add two variables together. This minus sign is to subtract two variables together. This times sign is to multiply variables together. Now they can be 2, 3. For a constant, now take note, for a constant they are always they cannot be changed. For example, pi, it is a constant in some formulas. Now every formulas, or some formulas, have their constant. Some can be attributed to be k or denoted with k, some can be denoted with c. All of them have their various constants in mathematics. Pi is 22/7. Every constant has its own separate value. Now pi, the value for pi is this, which can also be 3.142. Also several constants has their own values. For example, exponential, and it is actually 10 is about 10 raised to power a particular value. So this is just another variable. So exponential means 10 raised to power what? So exponential is also a constant. So those are things that are just constants. So constants meaning that they have been in existence, their values or their variables are just like that, they cannot be changed. So now let's now go to subscript and superscript. Subscript, when I have something like this, 2y, or I say I have py, or I have k naught. Now this naught is, or this y, let me not use this, these are subscript of their coefficient. Y is a subscript of p. This naught is a subscript of k. Now superscript example of superscript, we'll have something like this: super meaning to the power. Now if I have 2 to the power of x, it means x is a superscript of what? Of 2. Are we together now? If I have y to the power of 3, I'll say 3 is a superscript of what? Of y. Do you understand now? So most especially, the powers are majorly used in what? In superscript, are known as our superscript. So that's now all these are all still under notations. They are all still under notations. Then when I have coefficient, if I have 2y, the coefficient of y is 2. If I have y, just ordinary y, the coefficient of this y is 1, which is an invisible 1. 1y is also the same thing as y. If I have 3x plus 4, the coefficient of this x is what? Is 3. But this 4 does not have any coefficient. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. I get him now. So coefficient most times are always going with an unknown. This is an unknown, but this one is what? Is known. Definitely the coefficient of x is what? Is 3. Are we together now? Equations. If I have 3x plus 4 equals to 0, this is an equation consisting of an unknown. We can have 2 unknown, we can have 3 unknown, but the fact that you are looking for a particular variable means that it is a what? It is a equation. Now functions, from what I was trying to explain last night, function has to do with, for example, y equals to f open bracket x. Now x function has to do with a dependent and an independent variable. Now here in this equation, x is a is an independent variable, then y is a dependent variable. Do you get it now? Meaning that y is dependent on x, meaning that if I have an equation or a question to be find the value of y equals to of y in this equation, and I have the equation to be y equals to 3x plus 5. Now when x equals to 2, now they are telling us to do what? What is the function of 2 in 3x plus 5? Meaning that wherever we have x, y will now be 3. Wherever we have x, we put 2 plus 5. Now this is a bracket sign, and I said a bracket sign means what? Times. Meaning 3 times 2 is 6 plus 5, so is 11. Our y equals to 11, meaning that the function of x, which is 2, will give us y, which is what? 11, meaning that y, which is 11, is dependent on 2 in this equation. For us to have 11 in this equation, y must be 2, meaning that 2 or this y is dependent on what? On 2. So that's just it. If I say I'm putting y as 1, 3 times 1, 3 plus this, that's 8. Then I'll say when x is 1, my y is what? Is 8. Meaning that 8, this variable, is dependent on what? On 1. That's just what it. Now this what we explain is the same or similar to what? To explicit function. These are two types of function, or two forms. You can call them forms, or we say types of function. We have explicit, which is this normal one I've been explaining, and implicit, Then implicit now is just to find a relationship or relation between two variables. Now most times we use this when we are doing differentiation. Now I can have differentiation, we won't really go much on it, but you can also watch some episode I did on a implicit differentiation on the same channel, but we don't really need to go far. This is just an example of implicit function: 2x plus 3y plus 25 plus. Now meaning that we are looking for two variables. Now this variable is now independent, this is also what? Independent. We all know what independent means now. When it cannot stand on its own, this one cannot stand on its own, it must need a value. So these two are now independent, meaning that f, x and y equals to what? 0. Do we get that now? So if we are given any question that has to do with implicit, and when we are asked to find coefficient, I think we should be able to do that. Now the coefficient of x here is what? Is 2. The coefficient of y here is what? Is 3. This is what? Coefficients. These are coefficients. I get it now. If I now ask you variables, the variables there is x and the variable there is y. Are we together now? So these are just these are just facts. If I ask for notations there now, notations there, we have plus, we have also equal, we have plus and equal to. Those are the signs that we have here. Do we get it now? So for us to have a 0, x must have a particular variable. For us to have 0, y must also have a particular variable. So that's just what implicit function. You don't need to do or dwell much on it, just to understand how and form in which implicit function can come in. That's just it. Now from to look at this now, they'll say define mathematical notation and state its functions and role. List 20 notations and give their meanings. Distinguish between implicit and explicit. Explicit and implicit. Implicit is, like from what I said yesterday, I said explicit has one variable which is dependent and another variable which is independent, but implicit have two different two different variables that are what? Both of them are what? Independent. Now from this, now you check the comment box, we should identify the coefficient of x in this question. What's the coefficient of x here? What's the coefficient of x here? What is the subscript here? What is the subscript here? What is the superscript here? What is the superscript here? We should be able to have identified them in these 3 questions here. Now most of the explanations and the questions or explanations to this will be dropped in the description, but just ensure you check it and drop your likes, drop your comments, and also reach out to me on the with the number I will drop in the description button. So please and please try to subscribe and also share. Your support to this channel will also be part of your subscription and your likes. Thank you.